So, good evening, everyone. Uh, Good to see you guys here. Actually, it's a pretty beautiful evening, and as I think October will be going on, we'll really have Bangalore and Jaipur rather than having Jaipur. So, without much delay, we'll start with session 3. So, as I already told you, we are doing a test series on VARC, which is one of the most important components of any MBA exam. So, I'm presuming it's the last 2 months. So, you have already prepared well for the exam, and it's time to put your preparation to test. So, without much delay, let's just start. Please let me know who all are there in the class. It'll be helpful for me to address you by your name then and answer your queries too. With that, I'm Siddhi Bangard, your friend, educator, and mentor. Interestingly, I did my MBA in HR from XLRI. I'm a 2018 batch pass out. I have 3 years teaching and mentoring experience. So, no, I wasn't teaching right after my stint at XLRI. I went to the corporate, came back. The 3 years of teaching and mentoring I did, that was while I was preparing for civils as well as while I was preparing for CAT. So that time I was teaching as well as studying. So I cleared XAT, SNAP, TISNET, SPGen, MDI, IMT Ghaziabad, IRMA all in 2016. And trust me, while I was traveling all over India for my interviews, it was a pretty good thing. Especially, I still remember my nights at IRMA when I went there for my interviews. So all has been quite good. This is my Telegram link here, and this is my Unacademy profile link. You can follow me here because I guess from tomorrow onwards, we'll be starting 2 more sessions. One, I'll be starting special classes on the Unacademy platform. And two, I will be starting a special GK session because GK is an important part of TestNet and TestMet exams. And GK is additionally an important part of IIFT. It's an important part of CMAT, which has already been conducted. So, given that, plus the importance of GK in your final interviews is something which I cannot impress upon further than this. So, we are starting that. And in this special classes, there'll be more test series, but it'll be more combined, not a VARC specific test series. We'll have a couple of questions from GK, we'll have a couple of questions from LR, we'll have a couple of questions from VARC. So, it'll be a mixed bag kind of thing, completely live experience of how you're going to do it in the exam, because I believe the best way to prepare is to give the exam every single day so that when you're finally there, there's nothing to worry. This is the Telegram channel. You can join it if you want to. It's not a channel, it's actually a Telegram group which I myself address. So if you join the group, you'll be able to connect with me directly. With that, today's agenda will be your vocab. We'll do certain contextual usage in the terms of and critical reasoning in the terms of assumptions questions. They are a little bit difficult today. Assumptions, your weakening the argument, strengthening the argument type of questions, and vocabulary, of course, which is the most important part. Yesterday, we did synonyms. Today, we'll be doing antonyms. So, without much delay, you can follow us on YouTube at the CAT4MBA channel and on Telegram at the rate of CAT4MBA channel. With that, you can use my code SBUS for 10% off, and under the Unacademy subscription, not just you get to see all my plus courses, but you also can get direct mentoring from me for your CAT, ZAT, or whatever kind of MBA preparation you want to do, because I have given every single exam under the sun when it comes to MBA. So 12 months, it's 1575 750, and 24 months, it's 18900. And you can use my code SBUS to get an instant 10% off. With that, let's begin. So today we'll be doing antonyms and we'll be increasing our vocabulary. I'll give you 15 seconds, 20 seconds to read these 3 pointers and 45 seconds to answer them. So please let me know who all are there so that I can address you. It'll be helpful if you tell me your names. All right. So we'll start. 15 to 20 seconds to read and then 45 seconds to answer. Hi, Paki Priya. Hello, Harshvardhan. All right, your time starts now. So, Priya, since you're new to class, you can answer in this format. For example, for 1, if your answer is 4, you can say 4, 3, 2. You can answer in this format. All right? All right. Anybody else who wants to answer apart from Harshvardhan? Or I should take his answer to be final? And Harshvardhan, what about 2 and 3? It should have been quite quick. We wouldn't have the time in the exam. If you're aiming for CAT, then be very, very quick. All right. 2 is 4. Paki says 241. All right. So, what do you understand by badger? We are talking about the opposites here. All right. So, great. Okay. Badger actually means you keep pestering somebody. You keep provoking them, you keep telling them, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Have you seen people on the traffic signals? The people who keep selling things, they keep pestering you, they keep badgering you. So, hounding, hassling, and goading. Goad is a synonym for badger. You try, when you goad somebody, you try to provoke a response out of them. So, all the three, badger linked to hound, hassle, and goad, they are all synonyms. So it's please. Option number 1, the correct answer is 3. So Harshvardhan is correct. Paki, it's option number 3. All right. Coming to banal. Banal is boring. Banal is cliched, right? So vapid is lifeless, boring, cliched, bland, similarly, and trite, something very, very cliched. So the 1, 2, and 3 for banal are actually synonyms. So if we are considering the opposite in meaning, then it's original. So Harshvardhan is correct, and so is Paki, right? And finally, magnanimous, as the word talks about itself, it means somebody who's very large-hearted, right? So affable, somebody who's friendly, large-hearted, generous, benign, generous, large-hearted, benevolent, obviously a direct synonymous of magnanimous. So option number 2, stingy, is the correct answer for magnanimous. So 3 is 2. So Paki, can you please work on this? You had only one correct, and Harshvardhan also. It should be option number 2, right? Okay. If you want the PDF, please let me know. I'll provide the PDF in the Telegram group, of the link of which I've already provided you in the beginning of the session. All right? Okay. Now, let's come to another 3 more questions on the same. So 15 seconds to read and 45 seconds to answer the remaining 3 pointers. We have 10 vocabulary questions today, followed by critical reasoning questions. All right, Paki? Okay. Paki, are you appearing for CAT 2020? Harshvardhan, that was quite quick. Nice, nice, nice. These words are new for you, I'm presuming. All right. Then we'll have to be rather quick, Paki, because 2 months left. And I'll assure you of something. I was teaching UPSC CSE students and we prepared only for 3 months. But we worked really hard. We used to have marathon sessions. I'll also try having marathon sessions on the weekends when you guys are relatively free. And I assure you, I'll completely prepare you for CAT 2020 in every form and manner. So you don't have to worry. Just be there with me, be regular, and you'll start seeing difference in your performance. All right. So Harshvardhan says 4 is 1 and 5 is 4. Paki, can I please have your answer too? All right. So caliber means somebody who is apt for something or somebody who's knowledgeable enough for somebody. For example, if we say somebody is of high caliber, that person is intelligent, that person is knowledgeable. So distinction, when you say passed with distinction, you are very intelligent, you passed with great marks. Competence talks about the same thing, mental ability, and capability talks about kind of synonymous. So only option number 1 remains. You're welcome, Paki. So only option number 1 is the antonym. So caliber, antonym is ineptness. Somebody who's not capable or who does not have a caliber to actually, understand things. Camaraderie is a very, very common term used for showing, you are on friendly terms with somebody. So, for example, I will definitely enjoy camaraderie with most of my Excel batchmates because we spent 2 years together. We have seen the ups and lows of some certain things together. So, similar to friendliness is your intimacy. You are intimate with somebody, you know people very closely, you have a tinge of friendliness with them. Sociability, again the same thing. And conviviality again means jovial, friendliness, they are all the same words. So a new word that we learn here is conviviality. Please remember the words because they will be very useful when I repeat them. Don't think that I will not be repeating the questions or I will not be repeating the words. The number of words you learn today increases your vocabulary many-fold. Just look at the impact after 2 months. You will be a pro when it comes to vocabulary, and if you're a pro at vocabulary, nobody, absolutely nobody can beat you in VARC. So the only option that remains is antagonism. Antagonism means for somebody you feel hatred, for somebody you dislike. So camaraderie, the answer is option number 4. So Harshvardhan, you are right for option number 5. Paki, I still haven't got your answers. And candid means somebody who's frank, who speaks his or her mind. So forthright is a synonym. Ingenuous is somebody who's very innocent, right? So they will be frank, they will be open. Blunt is somebody who's bold and say whatever they feel like. So it's tactful people, which is slightly opposite of candid. Tactful people, they will hold back on certain information and give you out only a certain information. So option number 6, the answer is 1. Is that okay, Harshvardhan? Are you able to understand? Paki, I still haven't got your answers. Okay. Coming back to the last 4 of the vocabulary session, I'll give you 20 seconds this time to actually read the words and 45 seconds, another 45 seconds to answer this. And then at the end of the session, we'll do a quick revision of the words that we have learned today. Hello, Dinesh. I'm all good, pretty good. And I hope to see more answers here. Good evening. यार मेरी तुम लोगों से एक ही रिक्वेस्ट है, हम लोग नए हैं, ठीक है? You don't know me much, I don't know you much, but be there with me. If you want, go and look at my videos on UPSC CSE. वहाँ पे जाके देखो कितना interaction होता था. And जो मेरे regular students थे, they have done really well in UPSC CSE. अगर वो वहाँ अच्छा कर सकते हैं तो CAT तो बहुत छोटी सी चीज़ है. CAT is one paper of civil services. So if you are with me, if you are sincere about it, I can make it sure कि तुम बहुत अच्छे कॉलेज में चले जाओ. If not, I am ABC, but at least Excel, FMS ये सब तो तुम्हारी लीग के बाहर नहीं होंगे, right? All right. दिनेश, अगर तुम्हारा मीट एंड ग्रीट सेशन ओवर हो गया हो तो क्वेश्चंस आंसर करो, ठीक है? मीट एंड ग्रीट बाद में कर लेना। और वैसे अगर डेट्स ही ढूंढनी है देन यूट्यूब इज एक्चुअली अ प्रीटी ब्लैड प्लेटफॉर्म। इफ यू रियली वांट टू फाइंड समबडी टू डेट, गो ऑन टिंडर। यहाँ पे मत कर। हर्षवर्धन, बाकी कौन आंसर करेगा? प्रीटी गुड बाकी, इस बार सारे आंसर्स आ गए हैं। 4433. Okay, chagrin actually means something which, makes you irritable, something which invokes anger in you. So, much to my chagrin, how you usually use it? Much to my chagrin, she still went ahead and did something which I didn't like. Or, much to my chagrin, she still went ahead and registered my name for the contest in which I didn't want to participate. So, chagrin means something which invokes anger in you or irritability in you. So, grumpiness is a direct synonym, right? Spleen is actually a body part, so absolutely not related to chagrin. And vexation is again annoying. Something which is very annoying will irritate you or vex you. That's annoying. Glee is the total opposite, which means something which makes you feel happy. So, option number 3 is the correct answer. All right. So, finally, Dinesh has answered. Harshvardhan, don't even try that method. Trust me, it comes from your teacher. Right now is the time to focus on your studies. Go to a B school. You will really find pretty good women out there, intelligent and good looking both, and there'll be ample amount of chances to go around and date. People end up finding their life partners in XLRI. That's what the B school is for. So don't worry about that. But first, go and enter the B school. Enter a good B school. All right. Okay. So Dinesh says 4233. Priya says 4233. So nobody, none of you have answered me correctly. It's option number 3. It's not 4. Vexation, just because a word looks different doesn't mean that it is. All right. Coming to chronic. Chronic means, for example, when we talk about chronic illness, it's something very serious and something which goes on for a long time. Protracted is a word which actually indicates something which goes on for a long time. For example, the India-Pakistan issue is a protracted, what do you say, is a protracted international issue or protracted enemy issue that we are having. Inveterate, again, something which is very long going, long term. Tenacious, something who will, somebody or something which will go on for a long while, somebody who's very perseverant, will keep on trying till the things don't happen. So tenacious is somebody who will, keep trying for a very, very long while, as we keep doing with our most of our dreams. So people say if you're tenacious enough, you will surely get it. If you can wait, if you can, be with your problem when people give up, you will actually find success. So chronic is actually linked to 2, 3 and 4. Ceasing means to stop. So continuing means to go on and ceasing means to stop. So ceasing is your correct answer for it. So nobody again has answered me correctly. Harshvardhan, I am not getting any answers from you. So I'm presuming you either don't know or you are not interested. Whatever the case is, please be more interested. It'll help you. Cognizant. Now, talking about cognizant is somebody who's aware. All right. So, awake state is your aware state. Conversant, somebody is conversant in something, means somebody is aware of something. For example, I am very conversant with the current affairs as of now. And sentient again means somebody who's awake, somebody who can feel something. So, all the three, we learned a new word here called sentient. Answer whatever it is, Harshvardhan, because if you don't make mistakes right now, you will not be able to clear the exam. It's important to make the mistakes when we are doing all the mocks. It's a mini mock. So make as many mistakes as you can, because then you're going to remember. So if you don't know, it is completely okay. But just go ahead with it. All right. So it's not sentient. So Paki and Dinesh, I did not get a correct answer here also. And I think you didn't even take the pain to answer me correctly. So cognizant here means nonchalant. What does nonchalant means? A person who doesn't care, a person who's not impacted by whatever is happening around him, or who doesn't, give a damn what we say. Then last is temperate, temperate climate. So temperate climate is very mild. It's not something like what we have in tropics where everything is an extreme. So temperate is directly related to meek or mild behavior. Mild is a direct synonymous. And clement. So there is a word called inclement. Inclement means bad weather, something which is very, very, for example, when we talk about inclement weather, we are actually referring to storms, thunderstorms, or the weather which is not good, which is very disturbed, fast moving winds, and it's not a very pleasant state. So inclement weather is something which is not very, very comfortable weather. So clement is the opposite of inclement. So again, it's a mild weather. What only remains is option number 2, which says it is callous. All right. Callous attitude means somebody who doesn't give a damn. Again, nonchalant attitude. So temperate, as it means mild. So callous is a negative word here. It does not mean mild exactly or the opposite of mild, but it does mean that you don't care and your behavior is rash. It's not temperate, your behavior is not controlled, but your behavior is rash. So that's callous attitude. Yes, Paki, you can join the group. I have provided the link in the first slide itself. So join the group, all the PDFs will be there. All right. Yes, Harshvardhan, kind of. Callous is actually not indifferent. Callous is a reckless person. Somebody with a very attitude that they don't give a damn about anyone. Nonchalant is still positive. Callous is you are completely irresponsible. Okay. Sure. Let's come to the critical reasoning part. So in the critical reasoning part, this is a question directly from Snap 2014. So I'll give you 15-20 seconds to read, actually 20 seconds to read and 45 seconds to answer, or rather 15 seconds to read and 25 seconds to answer. So 1 minute in total. In fact, even in the exam, you will have maximum of 70 seconds per question. So we'll just keep our level a little above it. Yes, Dinesh, tell me. By the way, I'm presuming everybody is comfortable with English. किसी को कोई दिक्कत है तो मुझे बता दो. English नहीं समझ आ रही है जो भी है. Let me know. But I'm presuming you should be comfortable with English because you can attempt these exams only in English. All right, your time starts now. All right, Dinesh. Harshvardhan has already answered D. Pretty good, Harshvardhan. Minimal time taken. Paki has answered. Dinesh, answer करना है या सिर्फ commentary करनी है? मतलब या तो तुम सीरियस हो या फिर तुम्हें टाइम पास करना है. Good. All three of you answered. So yes, the answer is option number D. It was pretty easy. The entire para, even if you are not able to summarize it, the first option is pretty absurd. That remaining busy affects a person's health adversely. Now, interestingly, it's a blanket statement. It's a complete, it is something which is, they have made a very, very generalized statement about being busy, which cannot be true. The second is consumption of junk food always leads to deadly diseases. Usually, options with all and always are wrong. So first two are wrong. Asthma and lung cancer are inevitable consequences of urban lifestyle. Again, a very sweeping statement about the urban lifestyle. So this is incorrect. So even if you've not read the paragraph, even if you don't have enough time to read the paragraph, you can directly tick mark option number D and get that extra 1 mark which you require. All right. Let's come to critical reasoning part 2. Now, I'll not give you 1 minute because I presume you can do it in lesser time. So, your time starts now. Ashish has already answered. Paki has answered. Okay. Paki, why option number 2? मतलब क्या? क्यों? किस लिए? Do you guys understand what does immortal mean? Or is only Harshvardhan paying attention or wants to get selected? Dinesh? Okay. So, no, it's not option number B or it's not option number 2. Who says human beings are immortal? Do you understand what does immortality means? That you can never die. What they are saying is it is an amazing organ. So it is basically a repetition of what is written here. Definitely incorrect. It never sleeps. It continues to work even after death for up to 24 hours. If it was immortal, then it was not working just for 24 hours, but forever. So that's not happening, and it is actually logically, it does not make any sense, right? So that CAT will never do, or any MBA exam will never do, except for the syllogism part, where you just have to make Venn diagrams and actually determine. That's the logic part. Nowhere else there will be something which goes beyond common sense, all right? Yes, the human brain works tirelessly. This looks like the most apt option. Why? Because fourth option doesn't make any sense. We're not talking about the human brain amazing even the most skeptical of people. We are not even talking about it. This idea is nowhere there in the para. So option number 3 looks correct. Why? Because it never sleeps. Your brain is working even after your death, even if for 24 hours. That means 24/7. Your brain is consuming energy and your brain is trying to work. I don't know why we are not trying to make it work here, but please try to make it work here. Read the options carefully if you are pretty serious about CAT. Otherwise, with this level of preparation, trust me, even the worst CAT colleges are very far away from your reach. So please focus. Okay. Critical reasoning 3. Yes, Ashish. I'm glad you changed the option. And your time starts now. यार ये क्वेश्चन ना मतलब 2 महीने बचे हैं, ठीक है? थोड़े डिफिकल्ट हैं, but इस डिफिकल्टी लेवल पे we'll have to work if you really want to get into a good college. And by good college, I'm not even saying I am ABC. I'm saying the types of KJ Somaya or Great Lakes Institute of Management or blah blah blah, whatever they are. Even for them, this is like pretty basic. मतलब अभी तो हम ZAT के लेवल पे पहुंचे भी नहीं हैं. ZAT के लेवल पे तो इंग्लिश के क्वेश्चन समझ भी नहीं आते. What are they trying to ask? So थोड़ा सा और फोकस करो. हम ZAT के लेवल तक जाएंगे. So that cat looks like you know, baby panda to you. It becomes pretty easy for you. All right. Harshvardhan says option number 3. Okay. Harshvardhan, can you read that statement again? मतलब उसका कुछ मतलब निकल रहा है? Did you read it? या जल्दी जल्दी आंसर कर दिया है? आशीष, पाकी, क्या हुआ? आंसर करो भाई. 45 सेकंड्स दिए हैं इसके लिए. इतना टाइम ही नहीं होगा एग्जाम के अंदर. It's not right? Okay. देखो, Harshvardhan, nothing to worry. What the para is saying is cotton production has been increasing, right? However, the cotton consumption within India is decreasing. So there are two ways where the cotton which has been grown will go: in the domestic arena and the international arena. Here, the consumption is going down. right? And the total overall overall cotton exports are actually going up. So if it is going down in the domestic arena, and however the ultimate cotton exports are going on, and if you're talking about exports, then it does mean that the production is going on because of the increased international demand, right? So globally, the demand for cotton is increasing, leading to a rise in its production. It is a very generic statement. It does not talk about cotton production in India. So option number 1 is wrong. Cotton production is increasing due to increased exports. Correct. Because there has to be a way why cotton production is increasing. Because overall, the cotton production is increasing because the exports are increasing. So option number 2 is the most likely conclusion that we can draw from it. Ashish, it's option number 2, not option number 1. And finally, the domestic demand has fallen due to increased export of cotton. They are not even related. If we are exporting something, why should its domestic demand go down? For example, we export a lot of Alfonso mangoes outside India. But does that mean that we've stopped consuming Alfonso mangoes in India? Or if we are exporting a lot of cotton, does that mean that we will not wear any cotton clothes now because we have to export everything? So this is logically incorrect. As I told you, if something sounds logically absurd, it will never be the answer unless it's syllogism. And finally, cotton garment production brings in more revenue than synthetic material production. You haven't even talked about it in the paragraph. Why will it be the answer? So the correct answer is option number 2. Harshvardhan and Ashish, is it clear? I don't know where Paki goes in between. She loses her senses or she's completely AOL. Don't know what happened to her. But whoever is here, I hope it is clear. All right. Let's move on to the assumption type of questions now. All right, Ashish. Be with me. You'll thoroughly enjoy the sessions. Trust me. When we'll start GK from tomorrow, the sessions will be completely fun to go with. All right, Paki. Assumption question. I'll give you 45 seconds to read and answer both. Don't go AOL, Paki. Get a new connection. If you are studying here, get a new internet connection. Make it proper. You just have 2 months for the exam. All right? But answer me. If you're not answering me, I will not know what went wrong. But if you answer me, I can explain it to you. All right. Harshvardhan said option number 3. Ashish says 4. Paki, will you be answering or should I go ahead? Okay. So, Harshvardhan, explain me the reason. Paki says 3 also. Okay. ठीक है. Understand this thing. Let's take it upon ourselves. When we were small, right? It might or might not be true that the child usually interacts with new people. Some of us were very shy. I was very extrovert. I used to talk to everybody, right? My sister, on the other hand, was very introvert. We literally had to force her to talk to people. So, saying that assumption 1 is true always is actually not pretty implicit. So keep away from strangers, do not talk or take chocolates from them, warned a father while talking to his little child. The reason why the father is warning, the most implicit assumption, all right, not even explicit, the most implicit assumption is that if I do warn my child, right, the child might keep a distance from unknown people. The child might remember that my father asked me not to do it. For example, when I was young, so there is a booze problem amongst teenagers, and people start boozing pretty early nowadays, especially the millennials. So when I was very young, my father told me that, uh, while you're studying, drinking is not a very good thing, because if you're not in your senses, you might not be able to attend your classes and you might not be able to handle drinks. So it's not because I was habituated into drinking, because I didn't drink a drop even before I got into an MBA college. But he just thought that maybe if he tells me this in my teenage years, and since your parents are an authority figure in your life, I might like to keep my distance from liquor, at least till I'm able to handle it. And so it happened. Till the time I entered my MBA college, I never had a drop of liquor. And it's only in the college parties that you actually come across that, okay, it is okay, and adults actually do end up drinking. So it is a similar thing here. So that's why only assumption 2 is implicit. So it's option number 2. Ashish, we can actually assume because your parents are authority figures in your life, right? And why would your father tell something if he already knows that you will not be listening to him? Has your father told you sometimes that don't drive too fast? Don't talk to those people, they are not good. They keep giving us advices. Why? They give us advices because they expect that at some point of time you're going to follow them, right? Is that okay? Ashish, does that help? That's why I gave my example. Okay, let's come to assumption question number 2 in the assumption category. All right. Yes, Harshvardhan. That's the exact reason that she might. Our parents know that we might or might not follow them, but at least if they have told us, it'll sometimes might occur to us. For example, as I told you about myself, I always had access to liquor while I was growing up. I was studying outside. But if you remember, so when my father's advice always used to come to my mind whenever I used to go out and, think about drinking, even when I was studying. So once I completed my studies, I was actually doing well in my career. Everything was good. Then you can kind of handle liquor and you grow up into an adult. You know how to handle it. So the advice might or might not be followed, but the parents' inkling is that their children will listen to them. All right, your time starts now. And one more thing, Abhi, at least for this month, I'm going to give you explanations for a lot of things. Why? Because once you understand, I will teach you how to think. Once after this month completes, or another 45 days, 1.5 month completes, then I will not be explaining you things because by then I would have taught you how to think. And once you understand how to think, you will be unbeatable. And that's what I want to do. And that's why I'm investing so much time making you explain each and everything. All right? Okay. So, Harshvardhan has already answered. Paki, what is your answer here? All right, three of you. Absolutely correct. So you get the gist of the para. They're talking about democracy in India, but the problem is that women are not empowered enough because of the patriarchy. So unless we are able to change some of the patriarchal opinions, we might not be able to have democracy in its true sense. We did a paragraph on democracy yesterday also when we talked about neoliberals in the 19th century, that they were afraid of the Rousseau kind of democracy. I think Harshvardhan might be remembering it. All right. Okay. I hope nobody needs an explanation to that because everybody did it correctly, so I'm not explaining that part. Let's come to assumption question number 3. This is actually a little bit interesting question, and I should not even say it's a medium level question. It's kind of a hard question because you'll be finding it difficult to judge between the options where to go with it. So time starts now. Which one, Ash? Yes, you're right, Ashish. You're right. The previous one, na democracy one. Yes, the paragraph was easy, and the options were also easy. You're right. Absolutely right. चलो इसको करते हैं बताओ भाई क्या करना है इसके अंदर कोई आइडियाज? ये थोड़ा कंफ्यूजिंग है. मुझे पता था इसके लिए 45 seconds थोड़े enough नहीं है. It will actually require you to think. You need more time? Yes, I'll give you 15 minutes more. 15 not minutes. 15-20 seconds more. सोच लो. Okay. Harshvardhan has answered. Paki and Ashish? Question समझ में आ रहा है? Great. 3 of you. Very well done. You understood what it was talking about. So, do I need to explain this or are we clear on this? Are you clear why we are doing option number 3? Because in option number 1 and 2, उसकी कहीं passage में बात ही नहीं हो रही है. ठीक है? And even if they had these kind of assumptions, either you need to have a fact which is there in the para, and the second thing, even if they have these kind of assumptions, they will be very far-fetched because we're not talking about profitability here. Right? How the profitability will be there. The only profitability that they can think is it is readily available and can be easily extracted. But they don't talk about transportation or they don't talk about the quantity. And finally, but what is very close is the last line from here, although but the environmentalist. So they are actually expecting that they have a very robust environmental policy and that is followed in true spirit. Then whatever the environmentalists are saying, that will not happen and they will be able to do it without harming the ecosystem. Yes, Ashish. All right. This was easy? Great. Chalo. And finally, the fourth one, it doesn't even make sense. You can eliminate first, second, immediately, then it remains this one and this one. All right. Let's move on to assumption question number 4. This is also pretty interesting. I guess I'll have a marathon session on the weekends. उसमें हम और ज़्यादा questions करेंगे और थोड़ा जल्दी करेंगे. इतना कर लेंगे कि एग्जाम में जाने में टाइम डर ही नहीं लगेगा. और मैराथन सेशन में थोड़ा जल्दी जल्दी क्वेश्चंस करेंगे ताकि हम बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस कर सकें. Okay, your time starts now. Okay, time's up. Harshvardhan says option number 2. What else? Ashish, Paki, क्या आंसर्स है भाई? आशीष says 3. अब एक ही ऑप्शन बचा है पाकी. सब बता दो. 1 2 3 4 सारे ही बता दो. कोई ना कोई तो हो ही जाएगा. चलो. आई गेस उसका इंटरनेट ही स्लो है. So let's see. Interestingly, एक एक ऑप्शन देखते हैं. पैराग्राफ समझते हैं. Paragraph, what he is saying is that to actually tell other nations to not to have nuclear, what do you say, nuclear weapons, or to actually prohibit them from using or developing nuclear weapons is a pretty daunting task for the US president. Paki has also answered option number 2. Now, however, he says, I mean, it's a challenging task to tell people not to do something, and it might also fail. So the US president understands that, this is quite a sticky situation, and perhaps not in his lifetime, they will be actually able to refrain nations from not, going forward with the nuclear weapons or rather disarmament. So it would take patience and persistence that he realizes. However, apart from waiting and being persistent, uh, guys, do you recall the word that I told you about persistence? We just discussed it in the vocab section. Can anybody please write it in the comment section? What was that word which talked about long term? Can anybody tell me? I discussed that word at great length. जल्दी बताओ, अभी vocab की है हमने. बताओ बताओ बताओ. Okay, till the time you type, I'll go ahead. So he says, but we cannot ignore the voices who tell us that the world cannot change. So he says that, despite that, I'll be patient, but I do think there should be a penalty mechanism for the nations who are not following the world order. And because only once we penalize them, they will see that there is an impact of whatever actions that they are taking. Protracted, but when you talk about persistence, protracted is something which is going on for long, right? Tenacious is the word I was looking here. You have to be persistent with your efforts or tenacious with your efforts. Is that okay, Harshvardhan? Tenacious is the word I was looking for, but I'm glad you remembered protracted. All right? Okay. Now, can somebody tell me what is the opposite of tenacious? Or what is the opposite of long term? There is another word. Opposite of long term or permanent. There is a very beautiful word. So tell me the antonym. All right. In the meanwhile, I will explain you the options. All right. So he says that now first can't be an option because yes, he is bleak about the future of the world when it comes to the nuclear disarmament, but it's a pretty incomplete statement. So I think that's why you actually cancelled the first statement. Now the president realizes the virtues of patience and is willing to wait is directly from the statement. So it's just one statement of the entire para. It does not give you the complete idea. The complete idea is he's willing to wait, yet he does feel that there should be a penalty system. So incorrect. 3. The president follows an aggressive stance as far as nuclear violations are concerned. No, if he was aggressive, he wouldn't say I would be patient and I would be persistent and I would wait. What he's saying is, it's like he's like being a parent. He's saying that, I will be patient with my children, but I will make it a carrot and stick policy. If you do something good, I will give you positive reinforcement. If you're doing something wrong, I will tell you that you are wrong. So initially, it's option number 4, which is the correct answer. He is upset that the nuclear challenge they are facing is very daunting. A lot of nations are not listening to him. That's why there has been some violation of the existing nuclear regime. However, he says that he's willing to wait and see that the nation actually corrects whatever wrong they have done, and if they are not doing that, then they will be adequately penalized. For example, what they did with Iran, they penalized Iran. For what they did with North Korea, for what they did with Russia. So they are penalizing the countries which are not following the international nuclear regime. Callous is somebody who doesn't care, who's reckless. When we talk about tenacious, long term or permanent, the antonym is ephemeral. Ephemeral means temporary or fleeting. If something is long term, something is permanent, right? Then temporary means either the opposite of permanent is temporary. Another word for this is ephemeral. All right? Okay. Let's move on to the assumption question number 5. 15 seconds to read and 45 seconds to answer. ये पैसेज बहुत आसान है, थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी है. All right. आशीष एंड पाकी डोंट इवन वांट टू ट्राई. क्या हो गया भाई? क्लास में इंटरेक्ट नहीं करोगे तो चीजें नहीं समझ आएंगी. चलो, योर टाइम स्टार्ट्स नाउ. Okay. Somebody says option number 2. You need more time? Okay. I'll give you 10 more seconds, Harshvardhan, to decide on the options. ये थोड़ा सा tricky है, but हो जाएगा. Ashish, for the previous one, the correct answer was option number 4. That some international situation has happened, which is actually challenging the international nuclear regime as of now. And the US president is upset over it, but he's willing to wait. And he's willing to try a different approach to actually make sure that people respect the international nuclear regime. All right? Okay. So tell me, guys. Raiden says option number 3. Harshvardhan, Ashish, Paki, जल्दी बताओ भाई. इतना टाइम नहीं है एग्जाम के अंदर. फटाफट फटाफट करते हैं. Okay. All right. Ashish and Paki, you still want to answer? जो भी लोग हैं जवाब दो. गलती करने से डरो मत. डांटूंगी तो. डांट खाना तो हर स्टूडेंट का राइट होता है. All right. Yes, it's option number 3. The entire passage actually tells. First वाला इसलिए नहीं हो सकता because it is directly from the passage. ठीक है? The global recession will lead to a large scale unemployment. The second is the increasing pressure on governments might lead to desperate measures by the G20 countries. Again, something which is repeated. What the entire passage is trying to say is that the situation is going to be very grim, very sad, and if the situation is not taken under control, then the worst affected countries might face another social situation related to this kind of economic recession, is the central idea of the paragraph. So option number 3. All right? Chalo. Let's come to a different kind of question. Now it's strengthening the argument question. Strengthening the argument में होना क्या है? You are given a passage. You are supposed to find out of these 4 options which, if true, will strengthen the argument or the opinion that is being proposed in this passage. Right? So I'll give you 15 seconds actually to read and then 45 seconds to answer. Yes, Raiden, the daily session is held at 6 p.m. I'm also starting from tomorrow onwards a session on GK, 4 to 4:30 p.m. mostly. Half an hour का session होगा GK के लिए, सारे CAT exams के लिए. उसमें हम mostly MCQs ही करेंगे, ताकि तुम बस directly जाओ और question सही करके आ जाओ. Because GK has a pretty high weightage in TestNet and TestMat both. IIFT के लिए भी GK का अच्छा weightage है, and that also has. CMAT हो चुका है तो अब कुछ कर नहीं सकते उसका. चलो, your time starts now. Braden, I can then definitely help you because I got into the TES MA HR course, जो उनका flagship course है. And not just TES MA HR, I applied for their 3 programs. Social work वाला भी एक program था and एक कुछ global से related program था. I'm forgetting the name because I applied for in 2016 and I got through all the 3 programs. तो उसका बहुत अच्छे से idea है मुझे. Paki, the concept of strengthening a sentence is, for example, तुमने अपने parents को डांटते हुए देखा है खुद को? Your father is scolding you for something. For example, for example, I don't have the habit of getting up early in the morning. So my father will be scolding me. If you get up late, then your entire day goes for a waste. You're not able to complete a lot of tasks on times. It hampers your health, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly your mother comes in and she says, "Ye to hamesha se aisa karti," and because of that, you know what? She missed her class. She couldn't prepare well for her class, and that's why she's not eating on time. So whatever, my father's argument was that I'm getting up late, and because of that it is hampering my capabilities, it is hampering my development, it is hampering a lot of good things I could do. When my mother passes on new arguments or new facts, when she comes and supports it with facts, then it kind of strengthens my father's argument, and because of that I'm left speechless, and then you have to get up early next time, right? Understood? Okay. Harshvardhan said option number 2. भाई बता दो, पूरी जिंदगी नहीं है हमारे पास आंसर करने के लिए। ये अभी हमें स्ट्रेंथनिंग दी आर्ग्यूमेंट के बाद वीकनिंग की आर्ग्यूमेंट भी करना है, तो जल्दी करेंगे। अब मैं इतना टाइम नहीं दूंगी तुम लोगों को, एग्जाम में इतना टाइम नहीं है। 40 मिनट मिलेंगे, 34 क्वेश्चन करने हैं, मैक्स टू मैक्स 70 सेकेंड्स पर क्वेश्चन। उसमें आगे पीछे भी करोगे क्वेश्चन, मैक्सिमम तुम्हारे पास 36 मिनट होंगे, 40 भी नहीं होंगे, और वो भी जब तुम मेरी स्पीड पे काम करते हो वहां पे। ठीक है, सो ओके यार, टेक ऑन एनमैट एग्जाम इज, मुझे बहुत वाहियात एग्जाम लगा था एनमैट का। ठीक है, उनका टाइमिंग बहुत कचरा होता है। इट वॉज द फर्स्ट एग्जाम आई गेव एंड नॉट वर्थ इट। दैट्स माई टेक ऑन द एग्जाम। नहीं आशीष, आई विल बी टीचिंग जीके फ्रॉम टुमारो ऑनवर्ड्स। उसके बाद मैं थोड़ा एलआर सेशंस भी लेना शुरू करूंगी। तो स्ट्रैटेजी, एलआर, VARC एंड जीके, 3 चीजें मैं पढ़ाऊंगी। ठीक है, ओके। ऑप्शन नंबर 2, आशीष आंसर। हर्षवर्धन ऑल्सो सेड ऑप्शन नंबर 2। यार एग्जाम को तुम कितना भी चेंज कर लो, वो बच्चे भी बेवकूफ टाइप के हैं, वहां के एग्जाम भी बेवकूफ टाइप का ही है वो। इट हैज रिमेन सो द बेस्ट एग्जाम दैट यू कैन गिव, कैट का लेवल इज प्रीटी गुड व्हेन इट कम्स टू द क्वेश्चंस। टिसनेट का लेवल इज ओके व्हेन इट कम्स टू डिफिकल्टी लेवल। स्नैप इज ओके। ZAT is the mother of all MBA exams, not because I'm from Excel, but if you see the level of questions that they ask and the way the interview is conducted, it's simply awesome. SP Jain is again a very good college, उनके interviews भी बहुत अच्छे होते हैं। Alright? यार उन्होंने पूरा पैटर्न शेयर किया है ना, आई थिंक 34 क्वेश्चंस है इंग्लिश के अंदर। इस क्वेश्चन को कर लें। रेडन, इट्स नॉट ऑप्शन नंबर 4, इट्स ऑप्शन नंबर 2। पाखी, आशीष, अभी इस पे फोकस कर ले, फिर एग्जाम्स पे वापस आ जाएंगे। वील हैव अ सेपरेट सेशन ऑन दैट। इसको खत्म करें, टेस्ट के लिए प्रिपेयर कर लेते हैं, फिर हम सारे टेस्ट के बारे में बात करेंगे एक एक करके, डोंट वरी। तो पाखी एंड आशीष, आंसर मी ऑन दिस वन। आशीष has already answered. Raden has answered. So it's option number 2. Yeah, the entire premise of the argument is that we do have, a labor code, a labor rights here in our country, and Article 23 of the Constitution actually bans bonded labor. So there is another act called the Bonded Labor Abolition Act of 1976. However, the entire premise of implementing the Bonded Labor Act is actually on the state only. The onus or the responsibility, onus is another word for responsibility, is with the state only, right? So what they are saying is, because the onus is on the state only and we're not giving it much importance, even when it is a part of the Constitution, it is Article 23, right? So even when it is so, it is a part of the fundamental rights, the Indian government is not being held responsible, and that is why we are not actually seeing strict implementation of the labor rights in our country. So state governments are there, but if we do have the Indian government, it will actually lead to a better track record for India. Now, this sentence, it goes back into the history, doesn't make any sense because it's actually not strengthening our argument. It's just stating a matter of fact. What Japan did right? So they are just comparing two countries. It will not strengthen it. It will not even weaken it. It's just a neutral statement. Finally, a ban on bonded labor. We already have done that. We have a ban on bonded labor. Nobody can be forced to become a slave. Even the bonds that your company sign with you when you work for them, that's actually illegal. So even if you break the bond, no company can come after you and claim the money. I'm telling you a HRO 101. All right. So lawfully, they're not supposed to get the money from you. Indian Contract Act 1872 does say you can enter into a contract, but if you don't honor the contract for being a bonded labor with them, it is quite okay. So the only option that remains is option number 2, that if the Indian government is fully involved, we might see the proper implementation of the ban on the bonded labor. Yes, yes, Raiden, more than enough. Ren and Martin is like more than enough. Grammar hum class mein bhi karenge. So you come to the classes, we'll do a lot of grammar in the class. Don't worry. I'll take sessions on grammar also. You don't have to worry about that. हम सब करेंगे 2 महीने में हम बिल्कुल एकदम सॉलिड कर लेंगे कैट को चलो लेट्स कम टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन स्ट्रेंथनिंग द आर्ग्यूमेंट यस यस रेडन सेम टाइम होगा शाम को 6 बजे होगी मेरी क्लास अब फटाफट आंसर करिए आप लोग एंड योर टाइम बिगिंस नाउ चलो भाई टाइम इज अप who's answering the question the passage is a little typical but I will explain you the passage so it's okay even if you don't have the correct answer कोई दिक्कत नहीं है okay Not sure? Okay. So I'm not getting any answer from Harshvardhan. ठीक है कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. So it's actually option number 4. See, their entire premise is the genetically modified strains of silk seeds, they actually produce powerful insecticides. That means they can actually kill caterpillars. Now what they are saying that the pollen which actually flies away from the milkweed leaves which has these insecticides on them, if it actually gets on the caterpillars who are dusted from the pollen from the modified silk plants which has the insecticide in them, they die of poisoning. Now this is the entire argument or the premise or the assumption, so that because of the caterpillars dying we are actually putting the entire butterfly population at risk. Now this is one of the assumptions. They are saying that this is one of the causes. What we here need to identify now, the first option says whether the pollens of systematically modified silk contain more insecticides than other plants of the plant, that it doesn't make any sense, right? Because if we want to evaluate this argument that caterpillars are dying because of the modified silk seeds, then we really need to know if this is the only cause by which they are dying, right? Because the question is what will be most useful to determine in order to evaluate the argument. The argument is butterflies or caterpillars are dying because of the toxicity of the insecticide produced by the silk seeds, modified silk seeds. So we have to see that the butterflies or the caterpillars are not dying for any other reason. This is the main cause why they are dying. If they are dying because of this cause, then whatever argument has been put forth here is actually valid. And if we actually think by that, thinking, option number 4 is the most closest to it. It says you have to test this theory and judge that most of the caterpillars, say if 10 caterpillars are dying, then 8 caterpillars are dying because of the poisoning, because of the poisoning of the modified seeds. Now, option number 2 is incorrect. Why? Whether insecticides are as effective against silk-eating insects as commercial insecticides typically used on silk. It actually doesn't matter because you're not comparing normal insecticides with these insecticides. You just want to know what is the cause of caterpillars dying. Is it the toxicity of these silk seeds or is it something else? If it is something else, then this entire argument falls flat on its face. However, if the chief cause is the poisoned insecticide because of the silk seeds, then the argument is to go through. All right. Am I understood? Is this clear? Harshvardhan, I didn't get an answer from you. Only Paki, Ashish and Raiden answered. So is it clear, Harshvardhan, to you? All right. Let's come to question number 3 of strengthening the argument. So 2 more to go after this and then we'll end the session. All right. Okay. तो हर्षवर्धन आंसर क्यों नहीं किया है? डरते क्यों हो गलती करने से? जब तक गलती नहीं करोगे तब तक सही कैसे करोगे? डरो मत, जो मन में आता है आंसर करो, गलत करो सही करो, उसके पीछे रीजन दो. रीजनिंग तभी डेवलप होगी और जब एक सॉलिड रीजनिंग डेवलप हो जाएगी तो गलत नहीं होगा. इनिशियली बहुत गलत होते हैं, सबके होते हैं, मेरे सारे ही गलत होते थे. And I still remember when I came after giving my ZAT, I was like, I'm doomed. I'm teaching you English and I actually couldn't get through the English paper then. It was very difficult. So don't worry. गलती नहीं करोगे तो सीखोगे नहीं. The time starts now. ये 3 बच्चे जवाब दे रहे हैं मेरा. ये चौथा बच्चा कौन है जो मुझे जवाब नहीं दे रहा है? Harshvardhan has answered. Okay. Very good, Harshvardhan. हर्षवर्धन तुम बिल्कुल चिंता मत करो. मैं अपने सिंसियर स्टूडेंट्स को कभी नहीं छोड़ती. आई विल ऑलवेज बी देयर. जो भी एग्जाम निकालना है, जो भी तुम्हें टारगेट करना है, ठीक है? चलो भाई, आशीष, रेडन, पाकी, आंसर करो. 45 सेकेंड्स आर अप. इससे ज्यादा टाइम नहीं होगा एग्जाम के अंदर, किसी भी एग्जाम में नहीं होगा. ऑल राइट हर्षवर्धन, गुड टू नो दैट. चलो, बाकी लोग डर के मर गए हैं. डर के आगे जीत नहीं है. सो लेट्स फोकस ऑन दिस. Yes, it's option number 4. You got it right. Yes, Raiden, it's option number 4. Basically, they are saying that, people in America, in general, भी उन लोगों को पता नहीं क्या है, since they don't have any third world problems, they create their own problems. So one of their problems is that they are not respecting other cultures enough, which is called cultural appropriation, right? So here they are saying that in a party in Maine, which is one of their states, a couple of students were actually punished for wearing some Mexican attire. Now, and that was disrespectful. Now, I don't understand if from tomorrow onwards I start wearing a pagadi on my head, or if I start wearing that Sikh turban on my head, how is it actually appropriation of the Sikh culture? It is not. I am wearing it because I like the attire and I'm respecting it. If I would have, torn it, or if I would have publicly burnt it, if I would have, made, melted the entire, what you call the kadas that they wear, then that would have been a different thing. So here, cultural appropriation is defined as demeaning another culture. They're not demeaning any another culture. And what they have actually wearing, the sombreros, they are a symbol of Mexican pride. So if we actually tell somebody that what they are doing is they are respecting the culture, they are accepting the Mexican culture, then that actually strengthens the argument regarding that why these students shouldn't be punished. All right. Yes, 2 weekends. Then you can't actually go give any statement on that. And this actually doesn't make any sense, freedom of speech here. And whether people are dressed in Nazi costumes or not, it doesn't really corroborate with our information or how we want to defend them. Yes, Raiden, that's what I'm here for. We still have a while to go. Don't worry, be with me. Let me know what difficulties are you facing. All right? Okay. Let's move on to question number 4 of strengthening the argument. कल हम weakening the argument करेंगे. So I want you guys to join the Telegram group. I will share this PDF with you there. इस PDF में सारे explanations भी दिए हैं. So एक बार explanations देखो, एक बार questions वापस देखो. उसके बाद जब कल हम weakening the argument करेंगे, तो I expect कि 5 questions में से किसी का एक भी गलत नहीं हो या maximum एक गलत हो. इसी तरह से हम हमारा knowledge base build करेंगे, ठीक है? चलो, your 45 seconds start now. ये छोटा सा पैरा है and this is pretty easy. You're welcome, रेडन. अपना नाम भी बता दो यार, ये रेडन थोड़ा सा अजीब सा लगता है. ऐसे लगता है मैं पता नहीं कौन से अमेरिका में जाके पढ़ा रही हूँ या यूरोप में जाके पढ़ा रही हूँ. तो थोड़ा हिंदुस्तानी नाम बता दो, ठीक है? चलो, हर्षवर्धन सेज ऑप्शन नंबर 4, पाकी आशीष. रेडन भाई, तुम लोग को क्या ऑप्शन देना है? या हर्षवर्धन के अलावा किसी को सही नहीं करने हैं? 45 सेकेंड्स इनफ होते हैं भाई. 3 लाइन पढ़नी है और नेक्स्ट 4 लाइन में आंसर देना है. इससे ज्यादा आसान कुछ नहीं हो सकता है. ऑल राइट रोहित, नाउ आई रिमेंबर योर नेम. आशीष सेज 4. ओके, यस, इट्स ऑप्शन नंबर 4. बहुत आसान है. दे आर सेइंग there are a majority of people in their firm are males. Fine, that's okay. So they are talking about sexual discrimination. Now sexual discrimination would be either you are not letting the women go to higher positions or you're not even hiring females at all. ठीक है? Or you're not giving them good projects. इन तीनों चारों चीजों में से एक होती. So one of them is here. Even though a lot of women actually apply and they are better at getting the job, but they are still not being hired. So that's sexual discrimination. It's pretty easy. Now, this argument, it neither strengthens nor weakens the argument. Option number 2. ठीक है? Thank you, Ashish. And the company has assigned odd work hours to its male and female employees. अगर दोनों को कर रही है तो sexual discrimination की बात ही नहीं होती है. And option number 1, 20 times more women than men apply to the company for various positions. ना ये वीगन कर रहा है आर्ग्यूमेंट को, ना स्ट्रेंथन कर रहा है, बिकॉज ये इनकम्प्लीट आर्ग्यूमेंट है, इसलिए ऑप्शन नंबर 1 होगा ही नहीं. सो द रिमेनिंग ऑप्शन इज ऑप्शन नंबर 4. नाउ लेट्स कम टू द लास्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ द डे. इसमें थोड़ा टाइम दूंगी बिकॉज इसके ऑप्शंस भी थोड़े बड़े हैं, ठीक है? रोहित, अपने आंसर्स कभी रिट्रैक्ट मत करो. आज भी काम आएगा और कॉर्पोरेट लाइफ में तो बहुत काम आएगा. जो कहना है कहो एंड बी फर्म विद इट. पीपल विल रिस्पेक्ट यू फॉर इट एंड इट्स ओके. एवरीबडी इज नेकेड इन फ्रंट ऑफ द टीचर. तुम मेरे सामने ही गलतियां करोगे, मेरे साथ नहीं गलती करोगे तो कब करोगे? ठीक है? सो 15 to 20 सेकेंड्स एक्स्ट्रा दूंगी इस क्वेश्चन के लिए ताकि तुम ऑप्शंस भी ठीक से पढ़ पाओ. सो योर टाइम स्टार्ट्स नाउ. Your time starts now. हाँ भाई, you need additional 10 seconds, 15 seconds, थोड़ा बड़ा है ये, ऑप्शंस भी थोड़े ज्यादा बड़े हैं इसके। नहीं, सब लोगों ने आंसर कर दिया है, वेरी गुड। आशीष सेज इट्स ऑप्शन 2 and Harshvardhan says it's option number 4. Mm-hmm. Okay. Harshvardhan looks like he is pretty much he pretty much sympathizes with the entire LGBTQ community. All right, Ashish, you're right. It's option number 2. Okay. The entire passage actually says that people are saying that gay marriages are wrong and people should oppose gay marriages because actually it would affect straight marriages negatively. Now, that's what they're trying to say. However, if you read the first line, no concrete justification has ever been presented for the right of homosexuals to marry would affect straight marriage negatively. In fact, they are saying that even though it wouldn't affect the way a man or woman should be in a relationship, people are using this as a bait or as a false example to say that gay marriages won't work, when the underlying belief is that they find it morally reprehensible or religiously reprehensible. And I'll give you an additional fact of information about India. So, if you go back to ancient India, gay marriages or gay relationships were completely acceptable in our country. It's only when the British came in, they used to find it pretty morally reprehensible. And since then, we actually had Section 377, which was actually put down. So, only one person has answered it correctly, and that's Ashish. So, talking about that, they are also saying that a couple of people are trying to bring up their children in such a manner that they believe in straight marriage only. Now, that's kind of absurd because gay marriage or being gay is not a medical problem, it's an orientation. And they are also giving a counter argument that heterosexual individuals who support gay marriage clearly think it presents no problem with their own marriages. So basically, gay marriage or people who are gay marriage, people who are getting into gay marriages, they are okay with their kind of marriages. They're also okay with straight people going around with straight people. Straight people are also okay with gay marriages, and they do think it doesn't present a problem to their own marriages because sexual orientation of your partner will not change overnight. For example, if I'm marrying somebody, suddenly my husband will not get into guys, so it's no threat to me. Now, when you talk about celebrity divorces, it's a far-fetched argument, and it's something which is not even closely related, and we're not even talking about what kind of celebrity divorces are we talking about, heterosexual marriages or homosexual marriages. So it's an incomplete argument. All right. Now, third argument is actually quite funny because they are saying blacks have been given their rights, women have been given their rights, so it's now the time for the gay to get their rights. Now, that's a pretty stupid argument because um, the rights that have been given to blacks or those that have been given to women or those that have been given to mentally challenged people, they are all on very different planes. So you can't have the same argument going in for you when you come to homosexual marriages. The argument has to be different and the argument has to be strong, and most importantly the argument has to correct to your passage here. So the passage never talks about black rights, women rights, and that everybody has been given rights and now it's the turn of the LGBTQ community to get their rights. So option number 3 is absurd because it does not connect to the passage. Fourth option, gay marriage if anything confirms the commitment value of marriage, which, okay, all right, I have a couple of, okay, talking about this, the last one which a lot of you have answered, option number 4. Okay, gay marriage if anything confirms the commitment value of marriage by providing an example of people who want to get married by choice and even if they have to overcome roadblocks. Harshvardhan or Rohit, why did we even discuss this? Roadblocks की कहीं बात ही नहीं करी है. They don't have to prove anything to anybody. The entire argument here is gay marriages versus straight marriages, and gay marriages might impact straight marriages or straight marriages people bringing up their children in a way that they only go for straight marriages. These are the three arguments. So it is not even remotely related to what we are talking. They don't have to prove anything to anyone. If you love somebody, you want to marry them, go ahead and marry them. That's the whole argument. So considering the central piece of argument in the question that gay marriages might be responsible for the failure of straight marriages or for not having any straight marriages, that's the central argument, then this is the point which talks about that there is no correlation between the impacts of one marriage on the another one, which is again the first sentence. So it is actually strengthening the first argument already made in the passage, and hence your answer is option number 2. All right. So Ashish is the one who answered it correctly. With that, folks, I'll end my class today. Tomorrow, वैसे हम करने को weakening the argument भी कर सकते थे, but I don't want to take longer classes because it actually hampers your ability to think. So the way we have done strengthening the argument today, or critical reasoning, or the assumption based questions, right? I will be providing the PDF in my Telegram group. तुम वहां से PDF लो, एक बार इसको थोड़ा practice करो, see where you're making mistakes, see why we're not able to think in the manner you are supposed to think. ठीक है, कल we'll do weakening the argument, which are the sentences which weaken the argument, a couple of more questions on vocabulary. ठीक है, and we'll try to summarize our session. Vocabulary में हमने क्या क्या नया सीखा. So before I finish off, I want you to actually I want to take you to the starting of these slides actually, जहाँ पर हमने vocabulary के questions किए हैं, just as a revision कि हमने नए words क्या क्या सीखे हैं. So goad is a word which is related to badgering or provoking a response. So goad is one word that we learned today. All right. Banal means cliched or boring, something which has no meaning. Vapid means lifelike, lifeless, and trite also means cliche or boring or very ordinary. Yes, Ashish. Okay. Ashish, the tip for solving RCs is सबसे पहले अपनी reading speed बढ़ाओ. The best thing that will aid you, क्योंकि passages बड़े आने वाले हैं, CAT सिर्फ 2 घंटे का है, as somebody mentioned, and you only having 40 minutes and at least 2 or 3 long passages, which means 900 words. So your speed should be somewhere around between 150 to 200 words. At least minimum इतनी speed होनी पड़ेगी तो तुम passage पढ़ पाओगे और answer कर पाओगे. So सबसे पहले, as a normal exercise, I don't know which newspapers you are reading. You should be reading the Hindu. If you're not even reading the Hindu, try to read the Indian Express का editorial पढ़ो, word count देख लो कितना है, ठीक है, और use the online calculators for word count and calculate the minutes you're taking to read it. Try to gradually bring it. You have 2 months to go. रोज एक article भी पढ़ो, but try to get it to somewhere 150 to 200. That's the first step to get, the hang of RC. बाकी RC का hang करने के लिए read a lot, तो वो तुम्हारा उसमें include हो जाएगा. And the third thing is to be able to understand it. So language के nuances, assumptions, arguments, etc. वो हम यहाँ पे इतना कर लेंगे that I will train your brain. So उसके लिए you won't have to do anything additional. Is that okay? All right. Now, ये हमने 3-4 words सीखे हैं. फिर एक word हमने सीखा है affable. Magnanimous you guys already knew. It means somebody who's big-hearted or benevolent. So that's a couple of words. Then caliber we learned, and the opposite of caliber is ineptness. Camaraderie, remember the word very often used, camaraderie between nations. Nations are friendly towards each other. And its opposite, antagonism and conviviality. I will be asking this word tomorrow. Remember it. मैं कल पूछूंगी कुछ चीजों के मतलब directly, and I will be doing name calling. So don't run away from the class. If I'm asking somebody, that person will be answering me. Candid is frank. Ingenuous is actually innocent. And there is another word. Innocent is there. There is another word for harmless. And the word for harmless is innocuous. In fact, the recent farmer bill, which is in news, people are saying that it's an innocuous piece of legislation. जो गवर्नमेंट है वो ये कह रही है इट्स एन innocuous piece of legislation, मतलब हार्मलेस है, कुछ नहीं होगा, जबकि ऑपोजिशन पूरी तरीके से बैंड बजा रही है सबकी. Tactful means somebody who holds back, somebody who knows how, somebody who's pragmatic. Pragmatic is being practical and they know how to hold a conversation. Yes, Raiden, it's more than enough. Yes, Ashish. Tomorrow's lecture will be at 6 p.m. And last words that we'll conclude with is chagrin. Remember this. It's a word for annoying. So is vexation, something which is annoying. Chronic is protracted, long, tenuous. Inveterate also means long term, tenuous. Tenacious is another word, but it's a positive word. All right, protracted is you usually would use it with wars. So the 1965 war or the civil war in Sri Lanka was a protracted one. It actually extended for almost 20 years. Cognizant से word एक है sentient. Sentient word means somebody who's awake, who's aware. Nonchalant is an opposite. Somebody who doesn't give a damn about you. Is nonchalant somebody who doesn't care. Clement means a good thing, a good weather. All right, or something which is what do you say? A calm, composed, nice weather. Callous is somebody who's reckless, irresponsible, reckless, does not care. That's callous for you. All right, folks, I'll end the session here. So we learned a couple of words: chagrin, protracted, inveterate, sentient, clement, callous, nonchalant, ineptness, camaraderie, antagonism, conviviality, tactful, ingenuous, and finally goad, banal, vapid, tried, affable, magnanimous. Approximately 20 words. All right. So with that, I'll end the session today. Good night and thank you. If you have any doubts, please let me know. कल का class है 6 p.m. एक class और होनी चाहिए. So if you want to get notifications, no, Ashish, misanthrope and callous are different. Misanthrope are people. So anthro actually means by Harshvardhan. Anthro actually means something related to people. So misanthrope is a person who hates humanity, who's not a very humane person and who'll go against humanity. So that's a misanthrope. And callous means reckless. For example, जैसे हम लोग गाड़ी चलाते हैं. When I used to drive, in fact, when my sister is not callous, I am callous. When I drive, it looks like Dawn 4. I'll end up driving my car on the pavement. I mean, I used to drive like that. Now I'm getting better. But I used to drive in a very reckless manner. Without giving an indicator, I used to turn my car. And there were 20 accidents at the back of me. So that's callous attitude. That's reckless attitude. Yes, misanthrope. Anthrope means related to humans. Mis means something is bad. So somebody who hates humanity, somebody who's not good with people, somebody who's not a good person, who's not generous, right? Okay, तो कल के सेशंस के बारे में एक बार बात कर लेते हैं finally. Tomorrow, possibly I'll be having 2 sessions, 4 to 4:30. Join the group which is here. So on this group, I will be providing you the PDF of today's session और जितने भी session होते हैं and the notifications of my class. So either you subscribe to the channel so that you get the notifications or you join the group where I provide you with the notifications of all my classes whether on Unacademy or on YouTube. Plus you can talk to me on this group directly. So that's a double benefit. All right? Yes, kind of. Callous is reckless, insensitive. Yes. ठीक है? तो एंड करते हैं आप. कल मिलते हैं हम लोग 6 p.m. एक बार एंड प्रेफरेबली 4 to 4:30 एक बार. चलो. You're welcome, Ashish.